guys are welcome to another Aroma review. Today I just want to share why I feel like this is the best combination that you can have. I mean, if I have to take one lens and one camera to an event, it will be the Sony 50 f1.2 and then the Sony a7 R5. Now these two combination for me is the best that you can have. And when it comes to a hybrid camera, this is the true definition of an hybrid camera. Now, I've been using the Sony a7R5 for, I would say, more than, I would say, this 6 months right now, if I have to say, or maybe 5 to 6 months. And I've had the lens for more than I think a year now, so that'll be like close to 2 years. So I've used both of them extensively. Now, the Sony a7R5 is a 61 megapixel camera, and you can also have a lot of good video functionality. The reason why I call this one the best hybrid camera is that if you want to shoot anything in, let's say, 4K up to 25 or 4K 30, you will still get it in full width, and you get it very clear. I mean, these are very sharp images because there's a image here that is downsized to, I think, about 4K in some instances. Your images are going to be sharp when it comes to video, and when it comes to photos, you have 61 megapixel in here. So tell me, what else do you need for that this one cannot achieve? For me, the only reason why you don't want this is because if you do a lot of run and gun and you're not going to use a gimbal, you actually want to use handheld to run around. The rolling shutter on this camera is not great. I think that's the one thing that a lot of people talk about. But for me, for most time when I use this camera, I put it on my tripod, and so I don't use it as handheld run and go or put it in a cage and be running with it. No. So one of the things that you have to realize about all the gears that we all have is that you have to use them to you have to understand their weaknesses, and you have to work around them. For me, you putting this on a tripod or put it in inside a gimbal to do video work, I think it works perfectly. It's not my A camera when it comes to video. I have the Sony a7. I have the Sony a7 III, Sony a7S3, which I'm currently filming on right now. So it's my A camera when it comes to video camera, and this one is my B camera. This also can shoot up to 8K when it comes to video. But like I said, the 8K is not usable if you're using it as a run and gun, running around with it. The rolling shutter is not good, so you'll be getting some all these, geometry effect whereby things are, when you're running and things are not looking straight. So you're gonna experience that using this camera. But like I said, if you're gonna put it on a tripod or you're gonna put it on a gimbal to do that work that you want to do, this for me is perfect. And for the fact that it has 8K in it as well, for me is very usable. If you're doing anything like podcast or just weddings or anything that you can think about, I think this is the real deal. The other reason why I will say that this is the best combo when it comes to camera and lens is because of the AI functionality. This camera has a lot of advanced AI functionality inside. For instance, within the video capability, you can actually register the faces of people with this camera while you're doing a video production. Imagine if you're in a wedding scenario and you can actually register the face of the bride and the groom, and then throughout the wedding, it will prioritize the face of the bride and the groom. Even if the bride and the groom are dancing in the midst of the crowd and everybody's coming in their front and moving right, left, and center, it will stay glued to them. Anytime you find their face, it's going to stay right on them. And that's what you want. You don't want it to miss. You want to focus on the right people. So what I do in most cases is that when I go to an event, let's say a wedding or any other event, I'm going to register the face of the main people, the most important people there. You can register up to 8 faces, I think, on here in terms of video. And so that you know that anytime probably you want to make sure you capture those people in the midst of the crowd, it will be nailed on. The same thing applies to photos as well. You can do exact thing in photos. So when I'm using this as for my photography, I just register the face of the people that are very important prior to the event starting. And during the event, regardless of what happened, regardless of the people around them, when I take those photos, it's going to prioritize them and it will lock on into their faces and get the shot right. And that is one of the reasons why I love this camera. And when it comes to the lens itself, the Sony 50 for me is just the right lens. You can use it for group shot as long as there are not too many. You can use it for portraits. You can use it for 2 people, for 4 people. You can use it for table people. You can just, and it has f1.2. That means you can isolate subject. You can get that beautiful bokeh and just give you that 3D look. It's an amazing lens. And this lens is tech sharp. I mean, when it's something is very sharp, this is one of the best lenses I think Sony ever produces. And if you look online to look at reviews on maybe Amazon or Google, you will always find that everybody that owns this lens will say it's one of the best lenses ever. I don't think I've ever read any bad review about this lens. There might be 1 or 2 out there, maybe because a little bit of the weight, but it's not that heavy in my own view. But overall, I think this is an amazing lens. And this camera, you can also handheld it. This is another feature that I like about this camera. I can handheld this camera up to, like, I think 1 second, like maybe 2 seconds, and you can still get some beautiful shot using this camera. You can hardly do this with a lot of lenses. It's got up to 8 axis of stabilization inside of this lens, inside of this camera. So if you combine it with a lens like this, you can actually get a lot of steady shots using it handheld and in very, very lower shutter speed, and to be able to get whatever you want to do. And for me, that is very important. That is very essential as well. Another thing I love about this camera is because of the EVF. Now, the EVF on this camera itself is about, I think, 9 million. I mean, it's really, really sharp and it's really, really great. And I love using it. And if you're looking through it and you're shooting, you actually appreciate everything that you're doing. It's like, it's just beautiful looking through this as well. So I just love that fact about this. And I mean, I've said this before about this camera. I love this switch right here. There's a switch right here that allows it to move from video to photo in a pinch. You just move it around. I mean, sometimes I've been in a place just doing some video work and I actually want to get a photo. Within a second, I can just move to photos, take my photos, then move back to video. It's an amazing feature. I mean, you wouldn't appreciate this feature when you start using it. It looks so inconsequential, but when you start using it, it becomes an integral part of your work, and it just makes your workflow, it makes your work so smooth and enjoyable, and this just looks beautiful. For me, I just love using this combination of this camera and lens to create amazing photos, especially for weddings, for events like even parties, for corporate events like conferences. These two, they are just the absolute beast. The main issue with these two is that they will set you back by around £6,000. I mean, this camera on its own is close to around £4,000, and the lens is, I think you can still find this lens around 1,000, maybe 1,500, 1,600 online right now if you look closely. But the retail price, I think, at this point in time is around £2,000. So if you have this at around £2,000 and this camera at around close to £4,000, you're looking at around £6,000 for just these two. So they are expensive, but that's why I said, but if you have these two, you're done. You're good for, I would say, practically for most things that you want to do, because you can use this for practically everything that I can think of. They're amazing. The lens is amazing for everything. The photos, you can do video, you can do photos. It's just an amazing all-around photo and video, a lens and camera all together. Now, if you guys love this review, please smash that like button. If you're not subscribed to this channel, consider subscribing as well. Thank you for joining me on this review today. I'll see you guys the next time, and I say bye-bye.